Well, hello, guys. Happy Wednesday. But I coined Happy M Day. Whoop whoop. No, just kidding. My name is Mary Y. Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Living Fragrance Ministries. I'm also a lifestyle influencer and director in Tori Bell Cosmetics. But one thing, flat footed for sure, that I am is a friend to M. My best friend Emma, Reverend Emma Barnes. We are here with another episode of Real Talk with M, and
Yeah.
where we discuss real lessons, real issues, and with real women, and maybe some solutions. So if you are here, go ahead and do hashtag live. But if you look at the replay, go ahead and do hashtag replay. But then we also want you to interact with us because we can see your comments over here. Okay. We're going to ask you to do some things throughout the segment today, and we want to hear from you. This show is for you. Now, what is this show about? I know that you all maybe have a best friend or a few best friends or good sister friends, whatever you call it, and you had the best conversations. So one day, me and M was sitting at my house, and I was like, we really should do a talk show. And so we started that back in 2016 or 2018, and the rest is history. So now we're here. We are in our third episode. And I'm excited. I'm excited today because today we get to celebrate women. We get to celebrate women in honor of hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, National Women's History Month. And actually, this episode, I'm actually going to be in the interview seat. Okay, because my best friend is not only my best friend, but she's also a pastor of her own church. And she's also a licensed and ordained minister and reverend as well as chaplain. And she has an event coming up that I want you all to hear all about. But most importantly, I want you to register for this event. I'm so excited because me and my mommy, we will be doing this event together as one of the speakers. So let me be quiet because that's the only thing I'm going to say about the event. Okay. So take it away, Em. Thank you for being on tonight again.
Well, I am so excited too. And of course, it's always good when we get together. And how many conversations before we really realized we should take this to a place where
Mm-hmm.
other BFFs can like chime in and really
Mm-hmm.
hear some real stuff. So I'm glad that you had the vision for Real Talk with Eminem.
Yes.
And tonight,
Mm-hmm.
not only I definitely cannot start the day off without at least recognizing that it is Ash Wednesday. So
Okay.
this is the first day of on the Christian liturgical calendar for the season of Lent. And for those who
Mm-hmm.
do like honor Ash Wednesday or
Mm-hmm.
celebrate or are a part of the Lenten season, it's just that moment, the time, the journey that we take um, up until the moment of Resurrection Sunday, which some people call Easter Sunday. And so during this time of Lent, many people fast. Many people take moments of opportunity to reflect um, in a moment of repentance, just to remind ourselves how frail we are. Because from the dust we came, and from the dust we shall return. And while we
Yes.
are in this life, I'm just so glad that God can do something with our ashes. Oh, don't get me started.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
God can get us started, can create something out of nothing. And so, what kind of hope does that give us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, the event that you spoke of, me and my girl T, is really something that sparked years ago when we were doing ministry together, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember talking about let's have a tea, let's have a tea, let's call it me and my girl. And I was just so glad that I had the opportunity to be a part of the Ladies and My Sisters Keeper, where we were able to
Yes.
manifest and make that particular idea come to life. It was
Yes.
awesome then.
Mhm.
We had a wonderful time. Do you remember all the little girls that came?
I
And
know.
and I think your mom was there too. Did your mom come down for that?
I don't think so, but I know that your mom was there.
Yes, my mom was there. I know my sister was
Mhm.
there, and we had a some arts and crafts for the little girls. I remember Sister Allison Williams. She did the class with the little girls, and then I mean we had like an etiquette class. They did a fashion parade. I mean we
Yes.
had a blast, right? And and I know that has to been at least 10 years ago,
Mhm.
and thinking on this year of Women's History Month made me say, you know what? We need to bring that back.
Yes. Woo!
We need to bring that back.
Mhm.
And because all of us have that girl, right? We always say, that's
Mhm.
my girl, you my girl.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mary Y. Johnson, you my girl. You know what I mean? We have some girls, but the thing is, this whole in a time where we are really caught up with unfortunately sometimes the word girl is not so politically correct in so many arenas, but I
Right.
don't want to offend any of our viewers to
Mhm.
understand that quote unquote this girl is just talking about that woman, be
Yes.
it the um, woman up and coming, the woman in waiting, the woman in training, all the way up to that seasoned woman who can give us that generational wisdom.
Yes.
And so
Love
let
it.
us just not get caught up in semantics, but to understand that I feel like there's a little bitty girl in all of us, you know,
Mhm.
and but that we just have some things that we can learn. So
Mhm.
on March
Mhm.
the 19th,
Woo!
yes, on March the 19th, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we're gonna have a virtual because COVID, thank you, but no thank you, right?
Right, right,
Um, but it allows us still, it doesn't prohibit us, but it does limit some of the things we can do. But we're not gonna let COVID stop us. So we're gonna
right.
have what's called a stay-at-home virtual tea where you can do exactly what Em and I do, and that
Mhm.
is have our tea.
Look, I can't do the look. I left mine downstairs, girl.
But
Sorry.
that we can
I'm tripping.
have our sips in the comfort of our
Mhm.
own home at the same time while we can just kind of acknowledge the women in our life
Yes.
who have done something, have just made an impact. And so it is open for all ages, ideally from ages 8 years of age, 8 years,
Mhm.
as up to up to whatever number. There will be something for every age. And so the one thing that I'm very excited about is that you and your mom,
Yay! My mommy. No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
yes, who your mommy who has also been like a second mom to me, right? After the death of
Mhm.
my own mother in 2014. And I thank God for her, will be facilitating the workshop for our 13 and over, the grown and sexy group.
Yay! Yes, I'm
um,
excited about that.
I am too. And so, because you all have such some rich relationship information that I know, some experiences that you all can share with women. Women in that age group may have questions. I mean, you and your mom have been through a lot together, right?
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
before we're going to talk about that a little later, but I want to hear first from you because there's a challenge, right? There's a
Mhm.
me and my girl challenge that I am putting out there to the world, that we will take a moment each day. If you can only do it one time, then just do it once. But
Mhm.
there is 7 days of being able to really focus on who these wonderful women are in our lives. And the first day today is for us to reflect on the woman in our life, be it um, either your grandmother
Mm-hmm.
or the woman in your life that, or the girl in your life
Mm-hmm.
that gives you those generational wisdom nuggets. Who
Yes.
is that person?
Yes.
And so with that being said, I want to ask you, Em,
Okay.
tell us about I- it's I was just telling you, right? That was one thing I don't know if I've really heard from you about like your grandparents or your grandmother.
Right.
Talk to me
Okay.
or
Well,
talk to us.
I know. Well, actually, for generational wisdom, for my grandparents, I actually did not have the chance to meet any of my grandmothers. I heard great stories about them, namely my mother's mother, and how she was a giver. She loved children. She had 10 children.
Oh wow, okay.
Um, and all I have is stories and pictures. So throughout the years, I don't know what it is. It seemed like everywhere that I went, I adopted a mother.
Mm.
At my job, I had Mama Laura. In my church, Mama Gina. Just different people. Of course, my own mother, but I've always, I guess, actually was so what's the word I'm looking for? um Not seeking, but that's the only word that I can think of.
Okay.
That wisdom in other women to say who can be my mentor,
Mm.
who have I learned from, who is a person that I feel like that can pour something into me. And to me, actually, I have been coined as a nurturer mother to so many.
Oh yes.
And I believe that came from my grandmothers, that came from our family. And so honestly, I really wish that I had have met them, just to have that. But I do have just to have that part of my life, you know. But I have some godmothers, which your mom and Miss Sherry, and I also had Lynn's mom, who she has passed away, but other people around me to where I had that part of me feel that generational wisdom. So I love that it don't have to be blood, but it
Mm.
can, be generational. It can be just somebody that you admire. I guess that's the word I was looking for. Somebody you admire, and some person that where it's like, okay, when I become a mother, or when I want to train somebody or mentor somebody, I want to be like that person. So yep. So I hear stories
Yes.
of my grandmother. I don't hear a lot of stories about my father's mother, but my mother's mother for sure. She was a giver. She was a beautiful woman. Keisha's mom, my Aunt Lois, and my Uncle
Yes.
Calvin look just like my grandmother's picture.
Okay. Okay.
So I love that. I love the stories that they tell. I love the stories that my mother tell. And actually that's going to be a part of which I'm thinking in my mind, I want that to be a part of me and my girl T. Being able to talk a little bit about her mom, and about her generation, the person for generational wisdom for her, and how when I was growing up, everybody wanted my mama. And she downstairs probably laughing if she's looking on Facebook. She might be watching her show, but everybody loved my mother. I mean, every time for the first, even now, even her and Barbara, all y'all have y'all own relationship with my mother. But I
even
love it.
even DeVale, right?
And even DeVale, which he loved his mama Dorothy. Don't mess with his mama Dorothy. But yes, I love it. So
So
that's what
tell
I love about the generational wisdom. Go ahead.
well, what a blessing it is to
Hmm.
be able to connect with women and them
Mhm.
be willing to connect with you to share, to become a mentor for you, right? I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I believe that sometimes people seek, but they don't necessarily maybe find that right person. So, what a
Mhm.
blessing it was for you to be able to find several. I don't know. Can you think back to maybe what's one thing? I mean, you may have more than one thing like that golden nugget that someone has shared with you, one of your mothers that just kind of like sticks with you now. Like you just have not forgotten it. What is that? And while Marion is thinking about that golden nugget that she's received from that person who she considers her generational wisdom giver,
Mhm.
you all who are watching tonight, think about who is that person? Who was that woman, be it your grandmother or that person of generational wisdom that has just dropped nuggets in your life that if
Mhm.
that you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad that she
Mhm.
told me to make sure I wore stockings. I don't know,
Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. There's
so
nothing wrong with stockings.
yes. And hello, ladies. I see ladies chiming in. Hello, good evening. We're
Hey.
talking about Me and My Girl T and the Me and My Girl Challenge. And
Mhm.
our first segment is about the woman in your life who is giving you some generational wisdom. So maybe your
Mhm.
grandmother, or as we have heard from our CEO, Marion, that she's had women along the way that has pretty much adopted her and she's adopted them as.
Right.
So tell me, what's that one thing you've learned that just has stuck with you?
Um, I think that it has to be my mother. Which I know we honor mothers tomorrow for the challenge, but you know, being that we have been through a lot, just always keep God first in everything and finding strength in everything. I know when I lost my sister and of course, her daughter, she prayed to God that God gave her strength,
Mm,
and he did. And she had, not only did my sister pass away, but two or three of her brothers. And it was just a lot that her best
yes,
friend, one of
I
her good
remember
friends.
that.
And so just having strength, it wasn't like something that she said, but it was something that she displayed, you know.
Mm,
And so that, to me, that was generational wisdom. That was the wisdom that I, not necessarily not having my weak moments, but being able to say, okay, God, I know that you're going to give me the strength to make it through this, because I have had some moments in my life. You've been there for most. But just having that strength and displaying strength, not breaking, but standing true to who you are. And also, I guess another generational wisdom nugget is being a giver of
mm,
love, being patient and things, because I be wanting to go off sometimes, but me and my mother is like day and night. My mother is very even keel. She now she a trip, not
yes,
a kid, but she's very even keel, in a good way, or calm. I don't know if that's the right
yes,
word.
yes. That's
But
what I was gonna say. Just a calm presence.
uh-huh. And sometimes I can turn up, but having that be like, well, mama, don't that bother you? Just the other day I was asking her, I'm like, well, how do you feel about that? And I try not to be, being that I have one parent still alive, I can be a little bit overbearing at times and I have to catch myself. But I ask her questions like, well, how are you feeling in this moment? You know what I'm saying? How is this
Mm-hmm.
affecting you? And she's like, well, I'm okay because I'm true to who I am, and I'm not going to let other people stop me from being true to me.
Wow. Now that right there is a word.
Yes.
I am going to be my true self, true to myself.
Mhm.
Whew.
My mommy's on here. Look, hi, mommy. Look.
Yes. Hello, Mama Dorothy. Yes. Well, I was sitting here thinking about my grandparents because my
Mhm.
name, Emma Catherine, is both my maternal and paternal
Mhm.
um, grandmother names. So Emma
Okay.
is my father's mom, and Catherine was my mom's mom.
Okay.
And when I think back, I
I did
never
not
got
know
a
that.
chance
Mhm.
to meet my grandma Emma.
Okay.
And but I did have a chance. My grandfather did remarry, and I had my grandma Kawini that we called Mama. And
Mhm.
so, and some of the things that I learned from growing up with my grandma Kawini is when I tell you classy, my mama
Love it.
Queenie was a queen, okay? And
Okay.
she was so classy. I mean, everything about her was class. Like I just never saw her just step out, and even in her casual look,
Mhm.
she always had this class about her. And I knew that I was like, I want to be like that. You know,
Yes.
just elegant and dainty, but still down to earth. So I was like, so
Mhm.
that is possible. You know, sophisticated doesn't mean bougie. It
Mhm.
and so I love that about her. And what I didn't know after growing up and I decided to go to cosmetology school, some of those
Mhm.
things you may not know about me out there, viewers, um, is when I went to cosmetology school, I remember my mom then told me, she was like, you don't know, but your grandma Emma was a cosmetologist. I said,
Aw.
what? And then when I got my calling to preach, she said, well, your grandma Emma was an evangelist. And that is exactly how her and my grandfather met. They were on a revival circuit, girl. They was in the church. She was playing
Okay.
the organ, right? And he was preaching. And I just
Mhm.
was like, that just blew my mind that I didn't know that. Yet a part of her, like I embodied, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
That's
who,
good.
how could I ever have guessed that? So
Mhm.
that was pretty exciting when I did learn that. And then my grandma Catherine, what I learned from her was humility.
Mm.
Now, and I remember going, my mom's parents, they lived in the country,
Mhm.
and she had 13 children,
Wow.
a sixth grade education.
Mm.
All of the kids went to college, graduated with
Wow.
honors.
That is
And
amazing.
I
I
just
love
say
that.
to myself,
Mhm.
how did she do it? You
Yeah.
know, and when we would come visit down in Red Jacket, West Virginia, you already know that's the country, don't you? You know, there were no streets in Red Jacket, y'all. Everything was homemade, and I was just like, wow. You know, I'm still I just wish that I had that she had lived long enough for me to be able to ask her like, how did you do this, you know? But
Mhm.
she was just a woman of humility, and but to raise 13 kids,
Wow.
about be a wife and cook homemade dishes. I'm just going ahead and drink to
Yeah.
that, huh?
Sip on that. We talk about McDonald's and everything
Yes,
hibachi, but it was
yes.
all homemade.
So, and the one nugget that I'm hoping you all who are watching us tonight, hello, hello to all of you. I'll see you chiming in. We're talking
Yes.
about that woman, and you may have more than one. Who is that woman that has just dropped you some generational wisdom? It may
Yes.
be we were focusing like on either our grandparents or someone that you have adopted as mom along the way. Put in the comments, what are some
Mhm.
things that you've learned? What are some of
Mhm.
those nuggets? Share
Yes.
them, because I tell you, some of them nuggets is um, just, they're priceless.
Yes.
And so now that I've kind of told you about who they are, one nugget that I will never forget is one thing that a woman has is discretion.
Mm.
A real woman has discretion. What
Yes.
we share about who we are and what we do is is our choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to be careful about, if you don't, it doesn't have to be shared, right?
Right.
It doesn't. Surely there's some testimonies that people need to hear, but discretion, be a woman of discretion. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's something I just haven't forgotten. So
Yes.
so
I love that. I love hearing your story because I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot about that. I didn't know. I knew that you were named after your generation of wisdom women in your life, but I did not know like their characteristics. So I love that. I love it. So one question that I would say, or I guess statement, do you feel like, I love that you, first of all, go ahead and register, guys. Let me go ahead and put the link to Me and My Girl Team, hosted by my good friend, Reverend Emma Burns, or M to me. But I love that you're bringing this back to the forefront, because when we did it, it was like you said, almost 10 years ago, if not 10 years ago. It was just such a success. We talked about etiquette. We talked about just honoring our moms, talking about our relationships with that girl who may be, influential in your life. But do you feel like we are missing some of that in this day and age? Just that, how the Bible talks about how the older woman should teach the younger women, or the older women should teach the younger women, or you know what I'm saying? Do you feel like that we're missing that?
I do feel like there's some, in some aspects, we are really missing a huge piece of that, especially
Mm-hmm.
um, if someone is like not a part of a spiritual community, right? Not necessarily a church, but if they're not part of a community that has some, that holds some of the same values. So that could be a youth group, it could be, Girl Scouts, it could be um, you know, some of the like debutante
Yeah.
activities. I mean, there's so many. I know I'm probably missing several in between, but if we're not a part of a community, then unfortunately, it's a lot of information is being lost. Because not
Yeah.
only that, back in the day, I still know all my neighbors, right? That's on the street that I grew up on. I know the neighbors. If they're still living, we know the parents. Oftentimes, many of the kids have taken over. And I realize now how rich that was. Just how rich it
Mm-hmm.
was that Miss Raleigh, who lived across the street, who we used to get mad at because she would tell our parents when we did something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows? The things that she told our parents probably saved our lives, right? From doing
Mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Or Mr. and Mrs. Marshall, who lived down the street, who knew everything that was going on, who made sure the neighborhood stayed clean,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To my neighbor, um, the Todds, who used to babysit us, and
Mm-hmm.
the things that they would share, because they had older, their children would babysit us, so they could tell us things that that you needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like some of that is really missing,
Yeah.
and so I'm praying that in this time period, just for just a moment, that Me and My Girl T can bring back that nurture and offer. And the beautiful thing about it being virtual is
Mm-hmm.
now it's just not people in Cincinnati. Anybody,
Yes.
you know,
Woo.
anybody can um, register. You can
Mm-hmm.
ask your friend from across the seas, from across, from one state to the other. Say, let's get on here, and if you have that young girl who needs to see other young faces,
Yes.
I'm excited because we have a lovely mother daughter team, Charlotte Lanier
Yes.
and VP Victoria, who is going to facilitate that young group, the
Mm-hmm.
ages 8 to 12. They're going to be in a group. They're going to have their own activities. They'll be able to learn some of, um, the things that they need to know at their age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have if your girl is in that age group, register. Tell
Yes.
somebody about it so they can experience this. But yes, I do feel like there's some things that are being missed.
Mm-hmm. I love it because you're able to, like you said, just take a moment on, it's March the 19th, right? March the
March
19th,
the 19th from 1 to
virtual.
3.
Yes, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. just to be, I love virtual, and I love, how we can all connect. You can invite, your best girlfriend. Now, one question I have for you about the event, you know, does your mother have to be living, or can it be anyone or anybody that you admire, or anyone that you want to?
Anyone.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone. So I know I look forward to, I have a few girls coming on.
Okay.
So I invited my auntie who is 85 years old, but she is still so lively and feisty.
Mhm.
And and so I want her to join me um on the tea. So she's coming. And
Mhm.
then, of course, my daughters, right? So I know Gabrielle is going to be on. Gabrielle is
Aww.
14. And so I'll have to do a little bit of jumping around, but my sister is going to be on too. So she will be able to also stay with my mom. Her and my aunt will be in you and mommy's class. And then I'll be jumping in probably with Gabrielle, the 14, that the group 13 to 17. I'll be in that group.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so it can be anybody, any
Okay.
age. You can come on. And if someone is a parent, one thing I had a question. If it's a parent that has more children under the age of 8 and they want them to come on, there's no additional cost.
Okay.
And so with that being said, I do want to, the registration is $20,
Mhm.
$20 per couple. I mean, come on. This is the
You can't beat
$20 for
that.
you to spend time, just those moments with your
Mhm.
girl. And so, yes, I hope
Oh.
that helped answer the questions for you.
Yes, it did, because I don't want people to feel like they cannot come, if their mother is not with them anymore, or I just really want people to value the relationship that you have with your girl. It can be a
Yes.
mentor, it can be your sister, it can be your cousin, which I think I have a sister relationship with my cousin, Keisha.
Yes.
We don't talk every day, but I'm one of her biggest cheerleaders. I was thinking about inviting her to me and my girl T and my auntie, and so this is a time where you can pay homage and also just enjoy each other. Okay, enjoy each other and honor each other. And I'm so proud of my friend doing this. I remember when you were talking about it, and now we are what, almost 2 weeks away.
Yes, just 2 weeks away. And so we are so
So,
excited about it. And I want to hear from some of you all on the line tonight.
mm-hmm.
Who are some of your favorite gals? Who is it? Put it in
Yes.
the chat. Tonight specifically, we are talking about the 7-day challenge. The Me and My Girl challenge is really for 7 days. But if you can only do it for one, I'm telling you, take one day to
Mm-hmm.
pick the woman in your life who has just given you some true generational wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Post her picture online, and I ask you to post the T link in your challenge and share what the nugget is. Share why that person has been important to you, the impact that they've played in your life. Share it on your page and add on the link bit.ly / my girl T22. I know that we have that that's going to be showing either below me or above me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you add that to your challenge, because you never know who needs something like this. I think this is the
Yes.
beauty of this time. Unfortunately, post quarantine, is that the connections, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
relationship connections, we've lost that. And a lot of people, I mean, for some don't know, I'm in the mental health field. as a chaplain, and we hear a lot of people who are still suffering from depression
Mm-hmm.
because they've lost that connection. And so something like this will be an awesome opportunity for for them to get on and connect with their favorite girl
Mm-hmm.
and just hear some great topics.
Yes.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about, if you can kind of share, I know the one thing you said that you and Mama Dorothy would touch on in your segment, in regarding what she's learned, some of the things that she's learned, as far as her generational wisdom. But what do
Mm-hmm.
you feel are some of the other topics that you all may kind of bring up, in order to bring some great spice to your class, or your, well, I call it a mini workshop. That's what I call it. So
Okay.
your mini
So
workshop.
yes, so for my our mini workshop, I had a lot of things that I want to talk about, but of course we had to narrow it down. But being in our 40s, we know, being in my 40s, you in your 40s, we know once we get older, our parents get older. And so I am so blessed to be able to have my mom here with me in here, Cincinnati. And so that's one of the things that I want to talk about, how that that impacted my life for the better. I did not
Okay.
know. And ever since I was 20, probably since I was 18, I have not lived in my hometown in Michigan, and I've been in college. I was the child that moved away. My sister and my brother, they stayed there with my mother, but I came at least every maybe 3 to 4 times a year to be with my family. So now I feel like that we are redeeming the time. You know, we're
Okay.
redeeming the time, and I'm actually learning so much, even though I thought that I knew my mother, and even my mother thought that she knew me. But when you live together, it's a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
But in a good way, in a very, very good way. And it's been such a blessing, and I'm not gonna cry, but it's been such a blessing that I'm able to serve my mother now. For all
Mm.
these years, 45 years, or really, all my life, she served me. So now I can say, well, mama, relax. She's retired, and now it's kind of like, just do what you want. Relax. Let's travel. We went to Cabo together. We've been to Vegas. And I just had a great time being able to learn my mother, being able to redeem the time, being able to have some times that I didn't have. I mean, we had good times. We're not in odds, but having that, being able to walk in her room and hug her at night. I couldn't do that every night. It was just every now and again. But it's such a blessing to be able to be caregivers. Well, I won't say caregiver like she can't take care of herself,
Right, right.
but being that caregiver, providing that care, providing that love, providing the rest that she needs in her life, because she has been through, taking care of children, get grandchildren. So now you can rest. That's a blessing.
That is a blessing. And I mean, I cannot wait for you all to be able to talk about that in your mini workshop,
Mm-hmm.
because we are getting older. And,
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed to take care of my mom unto death. And you're right. Well,
Yeah.
as we get older, that journey of aging, that alone comes with its
Mm-hmm.
own, whew,
I know.
just it just comes along with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember when I moved in with my mom those years before she died,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, first of all, I was so glad that my kids had an opportunity to meet her, because prior to that, I was in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And so to move back to Cincinnati, um, fussing at you know what I mean. I was fussing.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to come back. Love brought me. You know, love make you do some crazy things.
Mm.
That'll be another segment. Let me take a sip home. Mm-hmm.
Crazy things.
But you know what? It couldn't. This was one of the best, craziest things is to come back to Cincinnati,
Yeah.
be with my mom, and allow my children, this generation, to hear from her directly was
Yes.
priceless. And I'm just so glad that they had that opportunity. And so I look forward to hearing, because we are gonna, some of the session we might be able to record, especially in the very beginning. But in the mini workshops, we won't record. We want to make sure that we just honor everyone's transparency and be able to just talk freely.
Mm-hmm.
And but yes, I'm so glad that
Okay.
you had an opportunity to just learn your mom, because we do
Yeah.
change, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's that's the reality of this, that we grow up,
Right.
and so do our parents.
Yes, and it's such a blessing. It really is. It's one of the biggest blessings in my life. I just really did not. You never know how God is gonna bless you. You don't, and you don't know what form it's gonna come in, and the love, and just being at a place of peace about it.
Yes,
Because and it's God is just so amazing, because my mother moved here right before COVID. Now, and I know y'all know I'm overprotective of my mother. And if she would have been there during COVID and during the pandemic and all that, I mean, I don't know if I would be at a place of peace. So God always know what He doing. I do
yes, he
not.
does.
I just don't question His timing. I don't question it, even though I would have, wanted to be closer to my mother and my family and things like that. And so now I always say, my sister and my brother had her for all those years. So now it's my turn
It's-
to get on her nerves. Not just kidding.
but it's one thing that you said, and you used the word "serve my mother."
Mm-hmm.
And it took me to that the verse, honor thy mother and thy father, that our days may be long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to be able to have that servant heart, and
Yeah.
what it really looks like to, yeah, right, care for our parents before they are at a place where they're in a dying age, in the
Mm-hmm.
transitional years.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm just excited. I'm so excited for you, because I had that opportunity. And we went on our first cruise together. And
Yeah.
remember, my mom was on that cruise. Oh my
Just
Lord.
all over the place. Keep up with
She
her.
did. She showed us how to vacation.
Yes,
Okay,
she
we
did. I was like,
we
Miss O, where you going to? I'm going here. I'm going here, baby. I said, well, go on.
yes, and I just remember, and I don't know if Tia, which who was my mom's roommate that on that trip.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Tia was shy and she didn't want to come out, and my mom told her, "Girl, you better come on and enjoy this time."
Yeah.
And just what a blessing that is. That and then
Mm-hmm.
after that, Tia came
She
out of her
did.
cabin and had a good
A
time.
good time.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
if you are tuning in right now, we are discussing the Me and My Girl Tea, which is happening on March the 19th,
Love it.
from 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
And this tea is geared towards women sharing time together with your favorite girl. It can be your favorite girl ideally from ages 8 all the way up to our seasoned um, women. And we're going to have separate mini workshops. We're going to have fun. We're going to have giveaways, right? You can't have a tea party without some giveaways, right?
Right.
And so, but we will separate. And Marion and her mom, Mother Dorothy, is one of our facilitators that will facilitate the 35 and older, the grown and sexy, as many of after 35, many of us call it the grown and sexy. But we want to hear from you today, because
Yes.
we have been highlighting the challenge. So up
Mm-hmm.
until the 19th, there's a challenge going on, the me and my girl challenge, and where we're gonna every day reflect, right,
Mm-hmm.
on that girl, one that God put in our life. I feel like that every woman that has deposited something in our lives, or even our children, God gave them to us. Like it's a gift.
Yes.
And so it like coincides right with the Lenten season to give us an opportunity to reflect
Mm-hmm.
on the gift that God has given us in different women of all ages. I've learned so many things from my children. You know, it's one thing to say
Mm-hmm.
that you've learned something from someone who's older, but I want you have told me some things about some things that you've learned even from, I know we're talking about your favorite girl, but
Mm-hmm.
just when I think about gifts and
Mm-hmm.
people that God put in our life, when you talk about your nephew.
Yeah.
But I kind of correlate that because it was a gift, a promise that you took from your sister to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that you would be there, you know, for him. And I want to
Mm-hmm.
know, I know that's a, you know, it's a sentimental situation, but it has really blossomed into something beautiful. And I just wonder if you are
Yes.
able to kind of share some of the nuggets that you have been able, that you took from your sister and
Mm-hmm.
now are able to take that and the blessing that you have been able to give to her son.
Yes. So, who it is is heavy because when I talk to I remember a conversation that we had together when she was alive, and I made that promise to her when she was alive, and when she passed away, I told her he's it took a village. It's not just me. It's not my mother, his brothers. It really took a village to raise him where he is now, and he's still developing. And so from her, I would have to say the nuggets and the characteristics that she displayed was hard work and being able to put her children, specifically Anton, first, to ensure that he would have a good education, that he would have a good upbringing, that he would keep hard work in the forefront. And that's why he's a hard worker now. And he has all A's at Fair State University. Whoop whoop. Where I graduated from, but I assured her, he would not have to worry about a thing, and he don't. And every time I look, and it's so crazy because as Anton gets older, he's starting to look like my sister. It's so it's so scary. It really is. I sound like her, and he's starting to look like her. I know he really is, all in the eyes, and I never could see it. You know how when somebody passed away, you can't see it until they're gone.
Right.
For me, I could not see how much he resembled my sister Leslie, and I just don't think that that's by accident because he embodies her spirit. He
Mm.
embodies her hard work, drive, everything that she was about, and everything that she stood for. He embodies. And I just think that that's part of the promise. It's part of, I hate, that she's not here to see him, but I know that she's here in spirit, just really rooting him on and giving him that drive, giving all of us that drive. But that golden and generational nugget from her is hard work and investing in people that you love.
Mm.
For me, I share this story all the time. Wrote about it in the Legacy Project, where I dedicated that chapter to her and my mother when we talk about generational wisdom. But when she sold into me to buy my home that I'm sitting in now, gave all of her money, and I'm not exaggerating. And I didn't think that she had it. The down payment, I didn't know. Silly me, this was my first home. Didn't know I needed to have money in the bank, and I was like, "Well, sister, I didn't know I needed this." It was a good amount. Okay. And she was like, yeah, no what she was like, okay, what I need to do, when you need to buy.
Mm.
Just being able to have that spirit of giving and being not selfish at all. And that's the nugget that I feel like that she gave us, that hard work, that drive, the determination, and just be given to her family. So
What
yeah.
a blessing! What a blessing!
Mhm.
And I do know because I see a vision for me and my girl T, and I brought up Anton because one
Mhm.
day it'll just be me and my girl. We'll probably drop the T because there's
Yeah.
men out there who have their favorite girl, and
Mhm. Oh,
the
that's
things the
good.
things
That
that
is
they
so
have
good.
learned. So it's not, it's not just um this time, we're focusing kind of on the woman or woman relationship.
Yeah.
But I know that when I hear Anton talk about his mother, it's just like, oh, there's no
Mhm.
doubt in my mind the love that he has for her,
Mhm.
and now the love that he has for you and the love he has for his grandmother,
Mhm.
and um and for our young men and men who can are willing to be emotionally vulnerable
Yeah.
and in touch with their relationships. I want to have something for them that where they
That's so
too
good.
can be
Yeah.
able to honor the women who have who their favorite girl is, right?
Mhm.
So that'll be down the line. But for those who have joined us tonight, I want to thank
Hey,
you all
hey,
because we are
hey.
getting down to our end, and it's my
Mhm.
prayer that one, you will register for me and my girl T, which
Yes.
is on
Share,
March
share,
the
share.
19th.
Mhm.
And there may be somebody on the line that's saying, well, I wish I could come. I already have an obligation. Well, I ask you, feel free to make a donation. This is Me and My Girl T is being hosted by Allen Chapel Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. And our ministry to be able to allow us to continue to do these types of events, because
Mhm.
soon it'll be face to face, right?
Right.
And we just want to be able to have an opportunity now to get it out there virtually. But register today. The link is on the screen. It is $20 for you and your girl. So for a couple from ages 8 years and up to how
Mhm.
to the seasoned of us most.
Mhm.
And there'll be many workshops for everyone that we can explore. So I ask you in the replay, share who that person is that you're who are you honoring on tonight. And then secondly, so after you register, then take the challenge.
Mhm.
Day one challenge tonight. And we will make sure the full challenge, we'll make sure that it is listed in the comments, and we'll make sure it's listed on in the Hope and Healing Network. But
Mhm.
day one is that person, um, either your grandmother or someone who has given you generational wisdom. And if
Yes.
you share that picture, whether it's a selfie of you and that person or that person alone, and the nugget that they have given you along with the link,
Yeah.
share this link so people can take advantage of Me and My Girl. And I want to thank you, my friend M,
Yes.
for this opportunity. I'm glad to see that some people have said this is an awesome topic for us to be discussing. And so that just gives confirmation.
Yes, absolutely. And share, share, share. Share this live. Share it. Do the challenge. Like M said, we are going to post a challenge in the Hope and Healing Network on my page as well, because we want to bring this back. We want to bring back the relationships that we have with our girl, women relationships. This is National Women History Month. So we want to bring this back to the forefront in our minds, that we cannot do it by ourselves. Okay?
Yes.
Who is M without M? Nothing. Not saying. So we have to lean on each other, and that's one of the things that I'm so excited about for March 19th is that we are so much more alike than we are different. Our
Mm,
stories make us stronger. They bind us together, and I cannot wait until that day and experience the outpour of love and ministry, tears, laughs. It's just going to be a great time. So I'm so proud of you, my friend, for bringing this back to life. When we did it was just so successful, and I know that it's just going to be awesome. So I love you so much, and we want you to register. Let me put the link. Hold on, where the link at? Bit.ly my girl
T
T22. It's
22.
in the comments. All you have to do, I see Allison. Hey, Allison. I think that's one of your church members. And
Definitely
Lavender
one of
Love.
my friends too.
Yes, Lavender Love Phillips is actually one of my little sisters from back at Ferris State. We were each other's girl. If she's still looking, thank you for joining, Kenyatta, and everyone. That it's not too late to comment. Go ahead and comment your favorite girl. Thank you, mommy. She said, "Great job, ladies." So me and mommy, we're going to do. Hey, girl, I love you so much, Kenyatta. I appreciate you so much. Get registered. I would love to see you. I'm just ready. I'm so ready. I have my teacup. I dust off my teacup the other day, and we still got how many days? 16, 17, I don't know. But I dusted off. My mama can attest to this. I was like, oh, I got to take my teacup out because we're about to, be in me and my girl tea.
Yes. Yes.
So, with that being said, thank you all so much for joining. Remember to do the call to action. Tell us who your favorite girl is. How have you gained that generational wisdom from them? And we want to hear from you, okay? All right. Have an amazing night. Bye
Good
bye.
night.